Okie dokie, okay, exciting daytime today. First of all, it's like a greaser's reunion down here. We've got my car behind me. We've got Adam in the garage finishing off bits of the Cobra. Check it out, he's got it with carpet back in.
Most of the carpet.
Most of the carpet. It's like a jigsaw, mate, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Fucking nightmare stuff,
fantastic.
Man. We've got engine covers back on. He's working on a bit of wiring over there, I believe. I've just finished brakes, as you may or may not have seen in one of my previous videos. We've got the neighbour over there working on his bikes and his cars. We've got Natalie doing wheels, and I'm going to be doing suspension. Yeah, there's nothing on it. As you can see, all 4 struts and shocks are off, and we are ready to stick on a kit. So there's my standard equipment, which there's really not a lot wrong with, to be honest, except my rear shocks are really crap. They were the ones that were on the grey car and they were no good. So I want to go a little bit lower, but I also want a quality suspension kit, and I did a lot of research and I came to the final decision. Well, first of all, I don't want coilovers. I'm not interested in coilovers. It's not something that I think is necessary for a daily driver, and I don't want the stiffness that comes with them. I was going to buy Koni's Streets yellow shocks, because Rich, who's got a track car, has got Streets on his car. They've got a nice ride, but they are quite soft. I'm a bit of an old man when it comes to suspension. I don't really want it too stiff, so what I'm about to show you I might regret, but we're going to find out pretty quick. I've gone with the Bilstien B12 kit, which is just in front of us here. So it's Bilstien B8 dampers, front, rear, and EIBACH Sportline springs. I've chosen to go with Sportlines because I've got a coupe, and having a coupe means that my car's already lower by 15mm. That's getting a light, sorry. Yeah, because I've got a coupe, my car's already lower by 15mm. So I decided to go with the Sportlines because according to all the gumph that they show, I believe if you take off the 15mm from the lowering, I'm looking at a drop of 15mm at the back and 35 at the front. I want something a little bit lower. I think it looks nicer. I think it controls the car better if it's a little bit stiffer, so it won't body roll so much. The car's a bit of a boat, man. It's one of the things about an E36, a heavy car. So although they handle the road beautifully, they could always do with a little bit less comfort, a little bit more handling. So we're going to bang on the EIBACH springs, we're going to get all the shocks built up and get them on the car, and I'm going to do basically a review video. I'm not going to do a how-to here. There's a million videos of people doing how-to with suspension setups on E36s, so I'm not going to try and, you know, reinvent the wheel here. I'm just going to bang this on the car. I want to give you an honest review of how I think it feels. I want to show you what it looks like lowered down. And with the brakes and with the suspension, when we get to the Nürburgring, and it's only about 3 weeks away from now, I'm hoping when I go around there, it'll be the best experience I've had of going around the ring in a car. So I've got the car I want, I've got the shocks I want, I've got a nice bit of exhaust tone. Everything's looking pretty sweet, we're quite happy. Whilst I do the review, if you've watched one of my previous videos about my brakes, I will give you an update on how the brakes feel at that point as well. So they're pretty positive, but I'll give you a bit more in depth when we get on the road. So yeah, let me get this put together and then we'll show you what it looks like once it's on the car and it's installed. And as if by magic, and with the power of Natalie's cool editing, we're in the car, it's another day, and we've got the shocks on, man. I want to talk about the kit and how it feels, really why I went for it in a bit more depth, and am I happy with it? And as a little addition to that, we'll add on a little bit about the brakes as well. So, the B12 suspension kit, am I happy with it? 100% yes. Why? Because it fulfills and ticks all the boxes that I want it to, without being too soft, too hard, Goldilocks stuff basically. You know, I keep getting a bit lucky with that word at the moment, but it is compliant, yeah, it is stiff, it's a little bit lower, but it's not slammed to the ground and rubbing on shit. You'll be able to hear a little bit of rattling and rocking and rolling, but without having it too ridiculous. the ride. Let's go for the ride first. The ride is firm, but it's compliant with the bumps. So I'm getting less body roll, although I can feel the road through the car in a beautiful way. Feels great. The spring rate, I have no idea what the actual numbers are on it, but you know, from the blurb that you read on the website, they've matched the shocks to the springs, and I think they genuinely have done a bit of work to try and make those two things mesh together really well. I did read a few people complaining about bump stops and having to take out the bump stops that are sealed within the dampers themselves at the front. I've not really felt any of that, you know. I mean, I've not driven it really hard yet, but for its normal sort of spirit of driving on roads like you're seeing me drive right now, it works beautifully and never goes anywhere near the bump stops, I don't think. It's increased the camber of the car slightly, as it always will do when you lower a car, but we want a bit of that, so that's actually a positive, not a downside. And the actual fitment of them, you can't complain. I mean, these things have been around for a long time. I'm certainly not the first person and won't be the last person which has fitted a B12 kit to an E36 BMW. It went on like a glove. I did use new top mounts on both front and rear. Compressing the springs is always fun. In general, there was no rocket science behind it, so all the other videos that I chatted about earlier that you'll have seen with fitting shocks and springs to E36, there's nothing fancy going on here. I have put 3mm camber plates in behind the bottom bolts on the front shocks to give a little bit extra camber. They went on again without a hitch, they fitted beautifully, no problems. So yeah, as far as the suspension kit goes, I genuinely have no complaints. I'm really happy with it. It gives me the ride that I want to have in the car. It feels very much like the car is going to run the Nürburgring perfectly. It's not too low for the Nürburgring, which is a thing I think a lot of people make a mistake about when they lower cars. That's absolutely great if you're on a really mirror flat racetrack, you've got no bumps, no potholes to live with. I do. I've got speed bumps, I've got potholes, I've got little children to try and navigate over and all sorts of the rest of the stuff. So I wanted a suspension kit which can deal with that, and I've got it. It handles the weight of the car excellently. It looks nice. It's, you know, having those big bright yellow shocks and red springs. Yeah, the child inside me likes the fact that I've got something a little bit fancy underneath there. I won't admit it. Sorry, I will admit it. So there you have it. I suppose that's my review of my B12 suspension kit. Fits like a glove, does what it needs to do, wasn't too expensive, looks nice. Beautiful. What I will do is I want to give you an idea of how it goes at the ring. So during our ring trip or after the ring at some point, I'll give you some feedback on how it feels, and if I can, I'm going to get one of those fancy photographs that the guys take at the corner of the ring when I go around the carousel, so you can see how it actually performs. I want to see that myself. So keep your eyes tuned on the channel, keep your eyes tuned on my Instagram for those sort of things coming up in the next couple of weeks, because that's getting even closer now. On to brakes. Let's talk very briefly about the brake setup. So to remind you, if you've not seen it, and those of you who haven't watched the video previously, I now have an E34 5 Series master cylinder installed on my 328 braking system. So to give you a rundown of that, I've got a standard 328 brake booster, an E34 master cylinder with a cut down piston, an E34 brake reservoir. I have braided stainless brake lines all round in the car and a couple of new copper pipes where they were necessary. I've got EBC red stuff pads front and rear. Nice gallant, I like that. Pretty sweet. Standard solid rear brake, solid front brake discs and rear brake discs. New brake shoes at the back, blah blah, that's not really that important. How do the brakes feel? Just right, man. They feel... Let's put it this way, let's put it relatively speaking. I've never had a big massive Brembo upgrade. I've not done the Porsche Boxster upgrade, which I'd like to in the future. That's something of a dream. But what I have experienced is a Honda CRX with a good braking kit, and that car stopped like it would stop in a 2p piece. The E36 has always felt a bit wallowy under braking. The pedal felt too soft, it felt a bit long, I never had masses of confidence that it was going to stop every time. This upgrade that I've done, I can't stress enough, is just enough of an upgrade for the price I paid for it to really make a huge difference. Now, I've had braided lines before. I've got .5 fluid in the car, obviously. That's something that I would mention that I didn't mention earlier. We had .5 fluid before, we've had braided brake lines. I know they make a difference to pedal feel, that's quite clear, there's no disputing that, but the difference in pedal feel I'm feeling is far exceeding that. So the E34 master cylinder has given the pedal, it's just stiffer, man. It's just got more of a bite when you put your foot down, and when you put your foot down, it's not wooden in any way whatsoever. So what you saw me do in the brake video, any of you watched that, will have said, you know, I'm pretty concerned the brakes are going to be wooden, it's just going to feel like an on-off pedal basically. It's nothing of the sort. The brake master cylinder is still progressive, so as I press the brake pedal, I get more and more braking force the more the pedal goes down. So I've got that confidence of being able to modulate the brake pedal as I go in and out of corners without feeling like if I touch the thing I'm going to have my face through the windshield. You'll have seen me say that in the original video, but that's an inexperience with the setup more than the pedal itself. Now I've driven it for, what have I driven it for, a couple of weeks now? I'm getting used to the feel of it. Another thing I was also concerned about is the pedal travel in relation to where the accelerator is. I have really long legs, so I don't rev match by using proper heel toe method. I have huge size 12 feet, so I'm able to just use the sort of ball of my foot on my brake pedal and the side of my foot on the accelerator to achieve the same results. I was worried that because of the way the master cylinder sits, I wouldn't be able to do that because I'd be pressing the brake pedal and I wouldn't be able to reach the throttle pedal because the pedals are too offset. That's not the case. When I'm hard braking, they level up beautifully. They level up beautifully and everything just works. So again, another recommendation. I spent 55 quid on the E34 master cylinder. Now I can't seem to see one that cheap on eBay at the moment. There's one on there, I'm talking brand new here, not refurbished. There's one on there for £74 I think. You find me an M3 one that's that cheap and you're doing pretty well, stick in the comments below, it'll be a hoot to see who can find the cheapest M3 master cylinder out there that's brand new. Alright, not refurbished, not second hand. So yeah, for 50 quid, all the other stuff I was going to do anyway, I've got a far better pedal feel, and again I'm a happy guy, Goldilocks stuff, you know. I'm going to the ring with a car that feels like it's sorted, that's got very little wrong with it, that yes, I've got a few little issues I want to tidy up, but we're pretty much there. We need some alignment done, a few other bits and bobs, and then we're good to go. Happy boy. We got good suspension, we got good brakes, onwards and upwards into the future. Natalie's threatened that she wants an M3. I can't have that, that's just not fair. If she gets an M3, man, she'll have a quicker car than me. But I think she's serious about it, so I think I better get this thing honed up and tracked down and ready and start thinking about maybe turbocharging the car down in the future. We'll see about that. It's lots of money, but that's the ultimate goal and the ultimate dream, guys. Maybe one day all my knowledge from reading Corky Bell's Maximum Boost book will finally come into action, but at the moment we're happy. Thanks for watching as always. As always, like and subscribe and put all the stuff in the comments and all the rest of it. Just had some really good engagement recently. It's been great answering questions about the recent video with the master cylinder. If you've got any more, chuck them at me. All I want to do is share the knowledge that I'm learning, and I'm just like you guys. I'm a dude that picked up spanners and tried to learn for myself. So let's all get better at this and we'll all have nice tick cars by the end of it. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching again. Paymo out.